Go.
Look at me. 1,
Two,
2, 3. God damn it, Jamie! Hey, welcome everyone to what we are hoping is going to be one of the very first of many podcasts to come. In the upcoming episodes, we will be explaining and exploring, rather, a variety of topics ranging from antique firearms to precision sports to hunting and everything in between.
But today is all about firsts. So this is our very first podcast, and we would like to share this very special occasion by asking some of our friends about a very special first, their first firearm.
Cool.
That would have been an 8mm odd 6 sporterized Mauser.
One was a 22 bolt action. Got it from Sears, and it was I think it was J.C. Higgins or one of them.
22? Do you remember what kind? Mossberg.
First gun.
It was a Smith & Wesson Model 36 nickel-plated revolver, 38.
A Thompson Center Flintlock 45 caliber kit.
We've been giving it a little bit of thought now after talking with all of our friends, and we've been trying to think about what makes a good first firearm. And we really figured out that there's quite a lot of factors that go into this. And, you know, when you're trying to figure out what kind of first firearm you should have, there's a lot of variables.
I think a really important question to ask is, what is the gun going to be used for?
Yeah, and I mean, when you think about it, it really comes down to two large variables. One is, what's the age of the person who's going to be using the firearm, and what is the general purpose of it? Just to make it simple for us and for in the interest of brevity, let's just look at two different age groups. Let's look at under 10 years old and over 10 years old, and let's just consider, say, the recreational aspect of a firearm.
So if you're under 10, you really need to think about two things: the length of pull and the recoil.
Definitely.
If it has too much recoil, the kid's never going to shoot again because he's too scared of the gun.
That is true. If there is too much recoil, you are not going to enjoy shooting this gun. You are not going to want to shoot it. And let's start by saying, if you're under 10 years old, what do you think? 22 all the way, right? You don't want to start them off on a big, huge shotgun like a 20 gauge or even a 12 gauge, which is way overpowered for someone who's, say, under 8 years old. But a 22 is a great rifle to start with because you can really work on the fundamentals of shooting with that young shooter. You can teach them how to hold the gun properly. You can teach them, how to pull the trigger and squeeze it as opposed to jerking the trigger and pulling a shot. So the fundamentals really come into play, and those translate later on into larger guns. If you're 10 years old, and depending on where you live as well, I think you have to look also kind of where you live. Connecticut, Massachusetts, where you can only hunt deer with a shotgun. You can't use a rifle. Whereas if you're out in, say, the western part of the country and you want to hunt for mule deer or elk, let's say, you're going to want something much more powerful like a 6.5 Creedmoor minimum. And to train for that as a child, you're going to want something more like a 22, whereas out here in the eastern part of the states, you're going to want something more like a shotgun, like a 410 or a 20 gauge. Yeah, I know, you want to show off your 20 gauge. Tell them what you got here. It's a Remington 870? 20 gauge? Junior. Yep. Great gun. Absolutely great gun. Extremely light. You've got it decked out with a nice rail on top and a nice red dot. This is a great gun for any youth who wants to get into shooting and wants to get into hunting too, especially, because this gun can be used for, in Massachusetts especially, you can use it for deer, turkey, pheasant, grouse hunting, and skeet shooting. If you don't want to hunt, you can do skeet shooting with it. You can just do target shooting with it. It's a great gun. Whereas if you're even on the older age, let's say you're over 15, 16 years old, you're larger, you got a bigger frame on you, you go more with the 12 gauge. And this is a nice old 73
Show off his big 12 gauge.
Ithaca. It's actually not mine. It was Grandpa's, your great-grandfather's gun originally. And this is just, I've taken deer with this, I've taken grouse, I've taken pheasant, I've taken turkey. It is just a great overall versatile firearm. And I highly recommend that if you are looking for something that's versatile, even for home defense, a shotgun's a great solution. 22 is not bad either.
Shotgun's good.
Well, that's true, but if you want to do, say, long-range rifle shooting like we're doing in Winter Rifle League, 22 works for that.
And we'll get more into this in other episodes.
Absolutely.
But for now, we are saying that shotguns are like more versatile, but with the 22, you can work more on fundamentals, and that's why it'd be better to give to a younger child.
Absolutely.
But in terms of versatility, I think the shotgun's the way to go.
If you're older, I think if you're older and you want to be able to do more, definitely you can do more with a shotgun, especially out here on the East Coast. If you're looking to teach someone who's younger the fundamentals so that they can become, say, a better elk hunter and shoot elk from 300 yards away, then you definitely want to start them off on a 22 and get them shooting out to 100 yards with it. What else you thinking? What should we talk? Oh, if you like these videos, please like and subscribe. Give us some suggestions in the comment as to what you think the best first firearm should be that someone should have. Or even better, what was your first firearm? Because
we'll personally just go through them just to get an idea.
These are both our first guns, really. I gave you Uncle Al, and I gave you this one, and my grandfather gifted me this one when he passed away.
Yeah, and there's a difference between our first guns and the first guns that we shot.
Definitely. First gun I ever shot was a BB gun. Let's just say I started with a BB gun.
Pellet gun for me.
Yeah. And then graduated very quickly up to a 22, which I absolutely loved. It was a nylon 66, which was my uncle's first gun. So, and I just also wanted to give a shout out. We were kind of making fun of him earlier, but Jamie, if you're out there, hey, keep up the great work. You're doing great shooting. We had a great time shooting with you today at the range, and we hope to see you here on the podcast with us at some point.
Subscribe for more.
Definitely subscribe for more. Welcome back to Iraq Veteran 888.
No, we're cutting that out.
No, we're not. This is Julia Child. Bon appetit.
Stop it. Stop it. Oh, come on, go.
And no longer the knights who say, "Nee."
We make our own noises here at Charles Studios. Charles Incorporated.
On a more serious note,